Here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I make turtles.
It's now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Yo, welcome back. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. Of course, we got the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty, in the house. Uncle Terry is with us today. Terry Foster in the house as well, the new president of the Detroit Sports Media Association. We have a sitting president in the house.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to pin you as my hand.
Absolutely. Well, you say you want to make it a more royal approach. I can be knighted, right? Detroit Sports Media Association knight.
Yes.
Okay. I'll take that. I certainly will take that. Sam Flannel in the house. Day number 2 of being on brand. We were critical of Sam Flannel for not wearing a flannel. How can you be called Sam Flannel and not wear a flannel every day? But Sam has made the commitment for the next calendar year. He will wear a flannel every single day.
Little update. He started out blue. He started out blue, then red.
Yep.
I saw some flannels the other day. $260 for a flannel shirt.
Hey,
that's because you're out there in your abode in West Bloomfield.
I peeked into Nordstrom. I'm like, whoa, gotta be kidding me.
We don't get that in Macomb County, T-Foss. You know, 260
that's right.
flannel.
Nordstrom closed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No,
Sorry to hear that.
We got Sawyer here in the house as well. Happy to have you all along for the ride. Got a big time show lined up for you. Certainly, we'll get into the Juwan Howard as the punishments begin to come down. I had a question that really popped in my head last night, too, about Yzerman and the Red Wings. And this was based on yesterday. We were at Chili Peppers Tanning. D-Mac had a great time out there with the folks at Chili Peppers Tanning. And we got into some Red Wings discussion, and the fine folks at Woodward Media clipped a segment of the show, put it out there, where I had mentioned the fact that the Red Wings, for me, they are appointment viewing, and tonight is an appointment viewing event for me as they play against Colorado. Or is that tomorrow? That might be tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'll be down there.
Yeah, tomorrow you'll be down there. Tomorrow will be appointment viewing for me to watch them play Colorado. And there are tangible results with the Red Wings that you can see, that you can point to, and did pretty well. Got a lot of views out there on social media, and it got me to thinking, has Yzerman's success, how quickly it's come, has that hindered our view of what it should be, i.e., Terry, we've seen what's happened with the Pistons, and some people have jumped off the bandwagon. Is that fair to say?
That
with
is
the Pistons? Fair. Yeah. And so I got to thinking.
And they should. I mean, they're not just losing, they're getting clocked.
Mollywop, did you like to say?
Yes.
Yeah. But D-Mac, I mean, has he clouded the water, I guess, for the other teams and rebuild efforts because he's had so much success so quickly?
Yeah, but I think he's inspired. And I think if you look at every other team, what they're dealing with is that they're doing the job that needs to be done. I think that what Steve Yzerman done is that, like I always talk about here, is look, do you trust the guy in charge? Every guy in charge, you know, Al Avila gets Al Avila is the one where I go, but AJ Hinch counters that because obviously he has some say in what the Tigers do. Now, baseball, it doesn't really matter. But you look at the different scenario, right? Imagine if the Red Wings had success that the Pistons did in the lottery, but they didn't. So Stevie's had to show that he is a great GM because he can pick guys. Because, you know, when he picked Mo Sider, people are going, who's this kid out of Germany? Well, he's showing them now. So he's shown that. But you look at Troy Weaver got his guy. They needed a little luck to get the number 1 pick, but we got Cade Cunningham. So you're building from one person specific. Then you look at over the Lions. They had to get rid of pretty much everything, and then they rebuild that way. They're doing it closer to the Red Wings, except in football, it might be sooner, but it takes more time. So I think what you're seeing is a steady consistency. You mentioned Terry coming on top of the castle there, being the king of the castle. Well, that's what Stevie's doing. He's showing not only the pedigree to build this team, but the consistency to have guys. Now we're having serious conversations about, oh, this guy could be here for the long run. Oh, this guy could be here for 10 years. You look at what's in the pipeline. Guys we talk about in Sweden, the Bergerons, the Arvidssons, the guys that are down in the minors still. So we see what they're building. I just think that he's doing it, and with the draft capital, with the draft choices, he's showing the way. And the way is hard work, but I think they're all doing the job that they need to do.
It's the thing I see with Steve Yzerman is the Wings organization has full confidence in him. He doesn't have to take shortcuts because he's Steve Yzerman.
Or orders.
Right, or orders.
Or orders.
If it was somebody else, they'd have to,
which is big.
Instead of selecting Mo Sider, they would get the highest scoring player from the Ontario Hockey League that scored 90 goals last year or something like that.
Even if he's
Bring him
5'9",
in here.
right.
He'd be 5'2", 110 pounds. So, but he didn't have to do that. He could say, I'm building from the crease on out. I've got time. It's going to work. And so, it shows that he has confidence. And not only that, but the organization isn't going to step in and say, Steve, no. We need a centerman this year. You select this guy. And that happens a lot in this town, especially with the Detroit Lions. Steve Yzerman is in solid. He can do what he wants.
I think to your point, Neil, what he has made everybody else better at is their game plan, is their long-term plan. His is playing out, but it's not today, tomorrow, to what Terry said, looking for that last piece. He went out, he got his goaltender, right, proven that Nedeljkovic could be the guy, or he drafted Sebastian Cossa, which is supposed to be the next guy. So between the young guys that we have here, the veterans that are turning into leaders and veterans like the Larkins and the Bertuzzis and stuff, so it's developing. So if that is bled throughout the other organizations about putting your plan together and then make sure that each step is a foundational cement piece instead of, like Terry said, building your house with wood or straw.
No, yeah, and I understand that. And like I said, we will get into that coming up in just a little bit. Also, some XFL, NFL news, and I have some thoughts on this whole XFL, USFL thing. Probably people aren't going to like it, but whatever. It's the way I feel about it, and I'm going to be right in the end. I will be right. So we'll see how that all shakes out as well. As we talked about, the Red Wings will be back in action against Colorado. The Olympics, lowest viewership ever. Wow.
Now, when does the Olympics start? Because I'm going to watch that.
Well, you never know. You never know when it's over there in China and Japan, South Korea. You never know when it's going to start. You don't know if it's live. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what results you have, and that's part of it. We'll discuss that coming up in just a little bit. But Sawyer told me it's National Margarita Day today.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that as I was doing my diet this morning.
Two.
Yeah, so it's National Margarita Day. And Sawyer, I have to ask you, and I'll get the expert opinion from T-Foss, who is as deep in the streets as anybody. But Sawyer, I go to you for the youth movement. Then I come to T-Foss to wrap everything up and to let me know what's going on out there in the streets. But Sawyer, the youth movement, is the margarita dead amongst the youth these days?
It's very much alive for me and my friend group. Yeah,
I think that the margarita in the can has brought it back.
You think so?
Do you guys drink so you're gonna drink more of a seltzer or more of like a
craft beer?
The canned margarita. Then you are going out.
See, I think that's blasphemy.
Or do you go out and order a margarita?
I'm more getting them at a restaurant. Yeah, if I'm doing I'll do like the plastic bottled, like Jose Cuervo margarita that's already mixed. But
that's what
I
mean.
mainly like getting them at like a Mexican restaurant.
The ease of getting them already mixed, pour and play, stuff like that. That's
thrown together a Saturday night.
So that's my question, I guess. And we'll put this on the poll here, Sawyer. Are canned cocktails blasphemy? Because I feel like they are.
I think they're coming. They might be in the $4.
No, but, and T-Foss, let me ask you this. Is the margarita dead, or is it in its golden age?
No, I love the margarita. And the margarita.
See, I never walk in the bar, T-Foss, and see somebody drinking one. Never.
you need to pay closer attention.
Okay.
The only thing wrong with the margarita is the name. It doesn't sound manly. It doesn't sound cool. But I tell you what, you go to some certain spots in here, that margarita will knock you on the floor. And, smart thing, National Margarita Day. Do you know what else today is? Taco Tuesday.
It is.
So you go in, get your $1 tacos, and you can get your $1.50 margaritas. Man, you could be lit up for a low price. Now, the margarita is not dead. In fact, I used to do Long Island iced teas. Margarita replaced it.
I'll tell you this right now, the best margarita that I've had, other than down in at Sushi's down in that's the one down in Mexican
the
town.
Authentics, yeah.
Pirate Cove, or Parrot Cove, 14 DeQuinder.
Okay.
They got a monster. Like, I just
Is
remember.
this the
So I haven't
golf
drank in like 6.5 years or whatever. But that sticks in my mind. That if I was going for a margarita date, I'd go over there.
Is that the mini golf thing?
No. No, but it's that
is Pirate
ship.
Cove, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Pirate Cove.
All right.
Yeah, Parrot Cove is it looks like the little ship. It's like a sandwich, like a bar sort of little one. Yeah, that's the best margarita. There you go. D-Max drinking details.
So yeah, that's my question, because I feel like the canned cocktail is having a moment right now, and I don't like it. I really don't. The bloody, but Sawyer, like, you're a Bloody Mary guy, right? Like you like to pour some Gypsy vodka in your Bloody Mary and mix it up and be on your way and watch the Daytona pre-race coverage.
Oh yeah.
Or Pocono or Talladega or whatever. That's how your Sundays work. And I always wonder how you get into work, ready to roll on Monday, given, you do it your all-day drinking thing on Sunday for NASCAR. But whatever. Yeah, he's young. He is. He's young. That is true.
You know what else can I mention 42 years ago today?
Yes.
Miracle on Ice.
Miracle on Ice.
Mike Ruzioni. Remember what? That was on tape delay, too.
It was.
Yeah. So that's as your the highlight of the Olympics to the low light of the Olympics these days with the viewership and stuff.
But that was one of those tape delay things that you're going to watch, even though you knew the outcome.
Yeah,
You were going to watch that.
Well, that's different. Yeah, that one was different.
Yeah.
And it was a different time. There was no social media, so nobody knew. And I bet you, T-Foss, if there were social media back then, nobody would have watched that game, because they would have known what happened. They would have saw clips and things like that, and the viewership would have been half.
You would have beaten the big bad Russians who kicked the USA's ass. I think it was 10-1 or 13-1.
Yeah, something.
A few weeks before that. So you had to watch that, because that was history. It wasn't just a game; it was history.
On our YouTube chat, though, remember, you can get involved on our YouTube channel if you're watching right now, which a lot of you are. Go ahead and jump in that comment section. We read some of them. Obviously, they're flying through right now, so it's something where we can't get to every single one of them, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try really, really hard. If you make the effort to put a message in there, I'm going to make the effort to try to read it. Make sure you catch us on the radio as well on 93.5 The Roar, so if you're listening, we appreciate you tapping in to Big D Energy. Chili Damon says blood orange margaritas. Rack says, I think the straight margaritas are dead, but the flavored ones are alive and well. My fiance just had a cucumber margarita this weekend. Yeah, and look, you guys accuse me of being bougie, T-Foss. I'm not. No. I'm not here for a cucumber margarita. And look, I don't do the sugar, so I don't. I'm not a huge margarita guy. But as far as that goes, I'm not rolling out with a cucumber margarita, T-Foss, ever.
That's for the ladies. Men are not getting a cucumber margarita.
But you would try it if the cute lady next to you wanted to try it.
No, I wouldn't. That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. Cintron World's an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots. Cintron's the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners with the Pistons, and served exclusively at Little Caesars Arena. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice. Buy online at cintronworld.com. Use a promo code RedWings10. That'll save you 10% with shipping included. That's always big, guys. Drink it. Live it with Cintron.
Everything that we've hoped for finally.
He's going deep.
right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, T. Foss, Sam Flannel, Sawyer. Squad deep up in here on a Tuesday. Club's going up on a Tuesday, I guess you could say. Taco Tuesday, National Margarita Day as well. I'm not a big margarita guy, but some of you out there are. Our poll on YouTube is split pretty much down the middle. Is a canned cocktail blasphemous? And I think we're just getting a little too liberal with the canned cocktail stuff right now. I'll say it like that.
Can I tell you from my drinking days? It was blasphemous until that's all you had.
Well, that's different, right? Between
that hits different.
Yeah, between grief and nothing, I choose grief, to quote Edward Rooney. So that's how that works. The suspension came down. Juwan Howard will be suspended for the rest of the regular season. Lions Detroit 35. You need to head down to your local Applebee's. I don't know that.
Applebee's.
Signing up for an Applebee's margarita.
Oreo margarita.
Juwan Howard suspended for 5 games, which is the rest of the regular season. Yahoo Sports was first to report the news. So T-Foss, we didn't get your thoughts on the whole situation. So now that the punishment is out there, just kind of give us your 30,000-foot view of what happened here.
All right, I thought the punishment was just because I know yesterday people were talking about should he be fired. Absolutely not for this. But here's my challenge for Juwan Howard. Every time he gets into a scuffle or something, he's got to bring up, I'm from the south side of Chicago. That's how we do stuff. But you're not the coach of the South Side Chicago YMCA. This is Michigan basketball for the Big Ten. So you got to let the your street youth go. Plus he's a 49-year-old man. And you got to grow up at some point. So the 5 games was just. In fact, my punishment would be 5 games. Don't coach in the NIT because they're not making the NCAA tournament. And just, I'll see you next year.
And T-Foss, that was my suggestion. If I'm Michigan, I can actually spin this into a positive. And I broke this down to DMAC yesterday, where if I'm Michigan PR, I suspend him for the season, and I say in the release that includes the NCAA tournament, which they weren't going to probably make anyway.
Right.
But that will give people the impression that you were going to make it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
They'll make the NIT.
Right.
So don't coach in NIT.
Yeah, and that's how I would have done it, but whatever. It is what it is. So that's how I would have handled it though from a PR perspective. So that way it looks like I'm condemning it and I'm saying, Juwan, we're tired of this stuff and this is a harsh punishment when in reality it will be 5 games.
Right. And so when you break it down though, there is one thing he did that can be construed as a positive. When he hit that assistant coach, that assistant coach was touching one of his players. And when you recruit a player, you promise to teach him basketball, teach him character, which he didn't do at that point. But you also say you're going to protect that player. So in Juwan Howard's mind, he was protecting the player that the assistant coach was touching. Now, my problem is nobody was throwing bolos until Juwan Howard escalated things. If you touch another player, it's not going to hurt him. That player was touched more on that basketball court by an opposing player. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And let's get to the heart of this thing. Juwan Howard was pissed because guard called timeouts late in the game. And you know what? You're not supposed to do that. But Juwan Howard had a full court press against his scrub.
Down 14 with 30 seconds left.
Yeah. So in that instance, guess what? I called timeout too. Because I'm trying. My job isn't to make Juwan Howard feel good if I'm the Wisconsin coach. My job is to put my guys in the best position to win down the road. And that's teaching them how to break a press. That's trying to get them to relax. I'm worried about my players, not Juwan Howard. So I think Juwan Howard was off base for getting angry about the timeouts. That's irrelevant to me.
Right,
in that circumstance.
Which is more to the season and the record and the frustration. It boiled out in front of, our eyes. And it's you nailed it, Terry. It's a fact if you're the leader and you're setting the example. Yeah, everything that you said, I agree as the positive he's going to take out of this. It's funny because it's 5 games but when you say he got suspended for the rest of the season, that just sounds
so much more.
Right, but I agree is that, and if I was Juwan Howard, I would, what's the sense in coaching the rest of the season, or just step back, step away and see if this is really what you want to do, because that was frustration on a lot of levels. But I don't care what it was, that you can't do that, because again, you're leading by example. And then what does this do moving forward? What is going to be accepted and what's not accepted? That's never accepted, to put hands on the coaches, putting hands, right? The players would get in trouble enough, and we've seen that whether it's pro or college over the years. But this is just just a lack of self-awareness to what you are in the whole scheme of things.
Hey, T-Foss, I got a question for you, man, because you have your finger on the pulse of this stuff throughout your entire career in broadcasting. I've always looked to you for somebody for moments of levity in these situations. John Martin here in a YouTube chat thread, his response is, why isn't Wisconsin getting more blame? Why is it always this? And my response would be simple, because Wisconsin didn't take any swings.
It's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, am I oversimplifying this, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
why is this a repetitive theme with the Michigan fans right now? They always worry about the other people, what other people
true.
did and stuff like that.
Because that's what they do. But this is a college thing. It's always, you look at the opponent, what they did. But here's the thing. Nobody from Wisconsin hit anybody. Assistant coach barely touched a Michigan player. Yes, and the guard impeded Howard from going through the line because he wanted to talk to him. You know, Juwan Howard is a big, strong man. He could just blow through him and say, get away from me, bitch. I ain't talking to you now. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, he'd have, uncomfortable questions in the press conference, and that would be it. So the reason Wisconsin isn't receiving more is because nobody from Wisconsin raised their hand and smacked somebody upside the head. Simple as that.
Does anybody not take into account, right? We're talking about guard, the coach, and we're talking about Howard. Howard didn't hit guard. He hit the assistant who put hands on the player, and to throw it a punch, to slap or whatever. You can't put hands on it to whatever. But it seemed to me, right, that even to all this stuff, but his issue wasn't as much with guard and that, because he would have slapped him if he was going to slap somebody. But when the assistant got it, so I think it's deeper than that. And looking into it, there's been words in history or stuff like this. So I think this was just the boiling point. And even hearing stories that Juwan Howard having second thoughts of going to the handshake line, because that's how upset he was. He thinking of walking away, taking the fine, not doing it, but then he decided to do it, and then this escalated. So learning experience by all. But the fact that we're talking about, usually when a guy gets in your face, grabs you, whatever like this, we're talking about, oh, he punched him. No, he didn't punch him. He didn't slap him. The melee came, to Terry's point, and that's what I asked you on. Was it more because you grabbed my player? Do you understand? Because he didn't slap the coach. He didn't slap the guy who, right? If you're an altercation, you stop me like you're saying like this, and I'm big and I can walk through, but I decide to stop there and have that there. If I don't like what you're saying, I'm PO'd at you, I'm going to slap you, aren't I?
Right.
Not wait till it comes this, so I wasn't going to do it. And then the assistant coach comes in and something happened, either something in history between the two of them, the fact he grabbed his player, whatever it was, that's what escalated the situation. It wasn't the timeout in the conversation. That's what started it, or else anybody else, that guard would have got slapped instead of the assistant?
Here's what we also need to put this in context. We were watching the whole video basically in silence. We don't know what people were saying. We don't know somebody who's threatening other folks, taunting. There was a lot of stuff being said, but we have no idea what it was. I would love to have the audio of that also. That would probably put things in better perspective for me and everybody else.
Yeah, and again, going back to this and being around college basketball a long time, when you're down 14 and you're pressing, and look, like you talked about too, and guys, trust me when I say this, when you have the reserves in the game and they're in a situation now where Michigan's all out pressing with 30 seconds left in the game, if that's the way that Juwan wants to play it, then guard he's going to call his timeout. Because you can't simulate this stuff in practice, Terry. You can't simulate being in this with another team, with a full court press, with your reserves. It is a teaching moment, and you're limited the time you get with the team. You're limited by hours.
Sure his reserves were freaking out, like, oh, what's going on here?
100% they were.
Right.
100% they were.
Howard said he wanted the game to end quicker. Wouldn't call off the press because you're not going to overcome a 16-point deficit in 30 seconds.
Yeah, the math doesn't check out. It's not possible.
You have to do the Harlem Globetrotters where they used to score those buckets like in the cartoon Harlem Globetrotters where they used to just put in the basket every 1 second.
Yeah, I just don't understand like the whole Michigan loyalist perspective of, well, this guy did this. They don't take a look at what Juwan Howard took a swing at the guy, man. And don't get into the semantics about open-handed, closed-handed, Southside Chicago stuff. You can't do that. That's where it stops, Terry. That's where it stops.
Because people are mad. Well, don't call it a punch. How about this? He slapped the bleep out of that dude.
He swung at him.
Right.
Whether it was a slap or a punch, whatever it was, he swung at him, and he's the head coach. And everyone's going to take their cue from him. And you saw it, and that's the way the human behavior works, Terry. And now, D-Mac, there are Michigan players suspended to where if he just walks away, because you know what? That's the way life works sometimes. Sometimes you got to take a bite out of the sandwich. And you know what kind of sandwich I'm talking about, and you got to walk away.
Yeah, but there's two things here. It's either he's really smart, making a bigger statement to galvanize whatever us against them in the position of defending his players and whatever, if that's the thing, or it's he's checked out the frustration of coaching.
And I think it's the latter.
That's the whole thing.
D-Mac.
Like, look at what the why is. Let's break it out. Yes, it looks like that it's sort of the frustration has cracked, but again, I look at what Terry says and I look at everything else, and the bottom line is that he was wrong, and he got. If we don't see him coach the rest of this year, I wouldn't be surprised, and it'd be interesting to see what happens coming out of this. And as we hear beyond it, whether it is in the video, hearing the audio of what is said, or some things that are said coming out, we'll find out.
See, I agree with the frustration part, but I don't think he's checked out. This is just what Juwan Howard does.
Okay.
You mess with me, you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid back. So I'm strong.
You can't fight all those battles, though, Terry.
But that's his mentality.
Neil,
and that's got to be the last time we see this.
The thing is that you can't be Juwan Howard when you're the head coach of the University of Michigan first, and then you're Juwan Howard.
Yeah, because you're not a player anymore, man.
Right, that's where Jim. That's what it seems. Right, you should be the head coach, football coach of the Wolverines, then Jim Harbaugh. Right, unfortunately. The people, and I get it, but it's how we look institutionalized, and this is when the person, don't mess with me. I get it. Step up on me. This goes bigger than that. But in this instance, like Terry said, this isn't the why in Chicago. This isn't accepted because you're the coach of Michigan. And because everybody saw it because it was the only game on TV. And because CBS didn't drop the ball when they were going off the air. That's exactly why. So this ain't the last we're going to hear from it. But again, something was done. To the conversation yesterday, yeah, I think Michigan still could have spun this more to try to make them look more favorable.
Yeah, that's how I would have done it. But there's a lot of things I would do. Like if I was in the home security market right now, there's one thing that I would do.
Well, you know what? I think that he was feeling guardian alarm. Juwan Howard probably has guardian alarm because that's the way he defended his player. Because guardian alarm, they get it, whether for home or for business. A good defense helps you feel secure. Guardian alarm is state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian alarm has convenient features that let you check in on your home or business to control your lights and your temperatures right from your phone. Even if your house is on fire, your business, it'll let you know. And even that deadly silent killer, carbon monoxide, for sure. But if you want to be part of the Big D Energy Woodward Sports family, you can today by giving them a call. It is 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Tell them where to go. 1-800.
Stay out. Get out of my house.
Stay out of Sammy Flannel's house. He's got all those flannels back to back with the blue, the red and the blue. Anyways, call 1-800-STAY OUT today. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Big D Energy, Neil Rule, D-Mac. We got T. Foss in today. We'll be right back. Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Comerica Park, sunshine, the crack of the bat. More sunshine, warmth. We're almost there, Detroit. Summer 2022 will be the summer of Woodward sports. We just gotta make it through this damn cold first.
Off and running here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster here in the house. Terry, get those story choices ready. It's story time with T. Foss, I think, coming up a little bit later in the show. We got to get, I think, as we start the second hour of the show, we'll get Terry's two choices. And we'll put it out there. We'll put it out there to the people, and you can choose your own adventure. Our poll we got going right now.
I got one right now. I got a question right now on Margarita Day or whatever. Oh, excuse me. Terry's favorite story involving margaritas.
Yeah, that could be one.
It could be.
Yeah. Keep that in mind, T-Foss. That is National Margarita Day. Of that ilk, our YouTube chat poll right now: are canned cocktails blasphemous? And yes has 51% of the vote. No has 49% of the vote right now. I don't know that they're blasphemous. I guess originally I thought yes, but then I start thinking about the summertime and the golf course are going on in the boat. So maybe there's a time and place for them. But I think we've gone too far. I think that is safe to say.
You know what? I could see at the turn, if I'm going in for a hot dog and this is a hot day, right? You're feeling yourself a little bit, whatever like that. And I bring you one out that was nice and cold.
I would, yeah.
You'd look at me, you'd look back, you'd feel it.
I think so. You're probably right. You're probably
Neil,
right.
Did you do Mike's Hard Lemonade?
Back in the day? We had one evening with Mike's Hard Lemonade, and then.
But you didn't do it regularly.
No,
absolutely, Terry. That was the kicker up. That was the getter going.
All right, here's the key: Zima.
Yeah,
at the high school party back in the day. Yeah,
Listen, Zima and Chambord.
Yeah,
right?
Zima and a Jolly Rancher.
Great babe.
All right, if I gave you a Zima today, would you accept it, or would you say, take this away from me?
Well, I would take into account who's giving it to me.
He would look around to see if there was cameras filming. Then he would crawl under the desk and slam
if there were no
like
cameras,
the old days.
It would be an honor for me to have a Zima with Terry Foster. It would be.
Okay, because we would have to film it, and we'd bring it back much later in your life, and you're like, oh, I didn't have a Zima. But isn't the Zima and Mike's Hard Lemonade...
They're the same
kind
thing.
Of the offshoot, or they started this canned craft stuff.
I guess indirectly, right? You got to be right? I mean, the wine. I think the wine cooler was the was the early evolutionary of the canned cocktail.
Some guys will not accept a wine cooler or Zima or anything. It's beer or bust.
Yeah. See, I'm not, I don't know, maybe I'm bougie or more sophisticated than that. I'm secure with myself as a person, where I don't care about the image I portray. I just enjoy the good taste of what they are.
Drink what you like.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know me, Terry. Do what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do in life. As long as doing whatever you want to do leaves me alone and you pay your taxes. That's it.
That's right. Well, we spend too much time telling people what they should and shouldn't do.
I don't care.
I get made fun of because I like the little blue moon with the little orange in it.
And a couple weeks ago, you and I went out to a local establishment here in Birmingham, and that's what you got.
Right.
And I was more than cool with it. I, too, enjoy a blue moon with a slice of orange in it. I do.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, do what you do. And I had some bourbon, and you and I, we had a great meal together. We had some laughs. We were making memories, T-Foss.
Lasting memories.
Oh, even better. Wow, that's why he's the professor. Did you learn something, Sawyer? Right there, right then. That's Big Daddy Smooth, right? That was his pimp tongue. Right there. That was the old pimp tongue.
Doug Fungus on our YouTube chat thread. Ain't nobody innocent in a scrap like that. Just because someone escalates it doesn't mean it's his fault. Well, Doug, I would say that's exactly what that means. If you escalate it, that it is your fault that it continued to go on. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too literal right there. I don't know. But I did want to talk about this, and we teased a little bit in the open. And the Red Wings, I think, as we look at the scope of Detroit sports, I believe have really set themselves ahead, right? Because we talked about this, D-Mac, where I wanted my hashtag 2023 T-shirts, hashtag 2023 and all the different teams' colors, because I thought that was about the time where everybody would kind of circle the wagons a little bit. But I think the Red Wings have clearly put themselves ahead of the pack in Detroit sports because they're all in a similar spot where it's been pretty grim, and now you start to see some light at the end of the tunnel. But with what Steve Yzerman has done, acquiring draft capital with good players on rookie contracts, with tons of cap space coming up in the next 2 years, I think the Red Wings, and T-Foss, I'll get your thoughts on this in a second too, I think the Red Wings have put themselves ahead of the curve as far as the rest of the Detroit sports landscape goes. I think that people have bailed prematurely on the Pistons. As Terry said, it's looking pretty glum for Pistons fans right now. However, you have Kate Cunningham, but it's a different animal too. But we'll get to that in a second.
Absolutely.
Has Steve Yzerman maybe? I'm kind of thinking of the best way to put this. Have Steve Yzerman
done what he was always going to do?
Altered the reality for the other Detroit sports teams. And you said doing what he always was going to do.
He's been there the whole time. It's the reality of he's coming in with everybody else had something to prove. He's coming in with the track record. Right?
Interesting.
He's coming in with the rest, all other three of them, Al Avila, through the organization. Now you bring in A.J. Hinch, which in baseball, in that organization, when you show me that he gets players that he wants, that means he's sort of the coach GM, even though he's the manager, stuff like this. But Al's got it. You look at Brad Holmes, first-time job, pedigree, in drafts and everything else has moved on. Also, too, you look at Troy Weaver. He came over, getting his first opportunity, and with what he's done, he's the one. If you look at the Pistons, him and Steve Yzerman are the closest because he had a game plan from day one, implode, right? And then see where the smoke clears, and let me work from here. He's still working. He got his piece, though, right? He got that beachfront property on the cliff wherever he wanted with everything else. Now he's got to develop everything through it. There's no road there yet, and everything else. He's got to get the pieces. But what Steve Yzerman has done is that, here's the thing, Neil, is he's played out. Let's use an analogy of Settlers of Catan for Sawyer, right? He's the most solid player as far as what he's trying to do, because now we can see not only on the ice with the development of guys he's drafted, but guys that he's kept, guys he's believed in, the Dylan Larkins, some of the older veteran guys, and then what he's got in the pipeline. Then you look at the draft capital, then you look at the salary cap. So when I look at the Red Wings, and they're not a playoff team this year, they're inconsistent individually, but his plan all around it, the development, right? there's no development in the district, but Steve Yzerman's development of the Red Wing organization is full 100% of what's coming. Right? There's a development downtown. What? You don't like, what? Did I say something that wasn't true? I apologize. Not. But that's the one thing. So I just think that this was the thing that was sort of expected, but he was also ahead of the game. Do you not remember he spent how long down in Tampa? 8 years? Doing that, cutting his chops, figuring it out, figuring how he was going to do this. That's why I always said is that knowing him is I expect him to do it quicker. So I expect it to be 24-25. And that's what I mean, getting back to legitimately sitting here going, man, this team could win the Stanley Cup.
And Terry, so that's my question to you then. Did Yzerman ruin it for everybody else, just in the strides that he's made in such a short amount of time? And I think people are underselling what Troy Weaver did because he flipped an entire roster in 10 months.
He did.
A whole roster in the NBA.
He got his beachfront property and got worse. That's the thing that you have to look at with the Pistons. You would think there would be a little bit of a gradual incline this year, and it hasn't been. But Steve Yzerman, when you look at this team, it's not a finished product, not even close. But you can see the future. You can look at that and say, oh, I can see what he's thinking about, how this leads to a championship team. You can at least see the future. With these other teams, you kind of got to snoop around and uncover some things. Okay, now I see what he's doing. But Yzerman is making it crystal clear.
And there's a clear
transparent with his word. Listen to him talk. It's not coded, scripted, or whatever else. And to my point, too, he was ahead of the game. He had, okay, so if he's in the upper management when I won a cup in 2008, I mean, there's 15 years of learning of how watching hockey from the broadcast level from up where Terry watches it. How many games have you watched? You get an idea when you have that passion. So I think that he came in with way more of the resume, or I guess the toolbox, right? To build this team. And I think that what we're finally seeing, Neil, here's the thing. We're finally seeing it in front of us. So to Terry's point, there's different challenges for the different teams. To the point is that when we look at it, if we're going to be realistic, the Pistons might have held ground or depreciated a little bit. But the key is, though, they have their guy. They have the pillar. So it's easier to bounce back from that.
It's crazy
quicker
to me when Yzerman, I mean, just 2 years ago, you had Franz Nielsen making $5.5 million. You had Justin Abdelkader making $4.2 million. You had Jimmy Howard making $4 million. A 33-year-old Darren Helm making $3 million. I mean, it's incredible how he washed everything out. It's almost as incredible as the 50 different formulas and countless taste tests to make Gypsy Vodka the best tasting, smoothest vodka on the market. Gypsy's gluten-free, corn distilled 6 times, uses artesian spring water. Those are the technicals. Here's my impression of it. It tastes good when you pour it in a glass and put some ice in there with some club soda and some lime. Now I'm rolling. Now it's Saturday night. Now I'm calling up T-Foss and getting out on the town because I'm right and I'm ready to roll. Support local guys from the state of Michigan. Gypsy Vodka, proudly made in Petoskey, Michigan. Go to the store and get a bottle. Ask for it by name. Say, hey, where that Gypsy Vodka at? And there you go. Pop it in the shopping cart. Go home and have a night, everybody. Gypsy Vodka. Best vodka in the game. As always, drink responsibly.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, T. Foss, Terry Foster, D-Mac, Darren McCarty here in the house. We got Sam Flannel. He's on brand. Day number 2 of 365 consecutive days where Sam Flannel will wear a flannel and be, quote, on brand. We got Sawyer in the house as well. He's got his Tigers hat on. No NASCAR racing vests or anything like that today. But that's only on race Fridays, right?
It's off. We got California next week. We'll step it up as we get closer to the weekend.
It is an off day. It is an off day.
Let him regroup.
Make sure on Friday you catch the quarter mile with Sawyer as well. He'll be out there in these streets, getting you up to date with everything.
It'll be a good one.
When's the Formula 1 starting?
They're just putting out cars, so then preseason testing's probably in like 2 or 3 weeks, and then you have another maybe 2 weeks after that.
All right,
so we're
April-ish?
Yeah, something like that. I think they're not starting in Australia this year. They're starting in the Middle East, so good racing.
All right, Steve Brown, a YouTube chat thread. I haven't had a Zima in 20-plus years. Wow, that goes back. David Mentier says, can we get an update on the bet? When is D-Mac going to punch Adam? And for those of you that don't know, this came across my desk yesterday. Adam Baydoun of the Morning Woodward Show said that he would take a left hook from Darren McCarty if our show got 200 likes on YouTube.
I'm a team player, man. What am I going to do? I mean, it's not up to me. It's out of my hands for now. Could be back into my hands. And he said a left, too. I mean, didn't we see what happened to Isaac when we were trying to mess around?
You're right. So,
I don't pull punches very well.
I don't pander for clicks. I don't pander for votes. I don't do any of that stuff.
I'm sure we'd have it filmed.
Right. And I don't pander for things. But if you want to see Adam Baydoun take a left hook from D-Mac,
excuse me,
click that like button.
I'm going to give him my best Juwan Howard open hand. Left-handed. Baydoun!
Now watch these likes fly, everybody, on the YouTube chat.
You just have a big red spot on his face if you slapped him.
Back when slapping a man was fashionable.
Right? Sawyer, Rubbin's racing.
Yes, sir.
YT Sparty says, get drunk, go driving around, just pay your taxes. No, that's not what I said, YT Sparty. I said on a Saturday night when I'm sitting at home, I like to enjoy a beverage. Nothing wrong with that, my friend. You do you. Jake Wegener says, you do what you want to do. Unless you want to take a swing at another coach. LOL. Yeah, I would frown upon that. But we're talking about has Steve Yzerman kind of wrecked it for everybody else? From Beverly Hills Cop. Has Steve Yzerman wrecked the buffet at the Harrow Club for everybody else here in Detroit? You like that Beverly Hills Cop blast, huh? But it's just, for me, it seems like it is because I think the success that he's had, because I'm in with this Red Wings team. I said it yesterday. I will always check in for the rest of the season. And you guys know where I stand, right? The second you know you can't make the playoffs, what's my prescription? Tap out. I didn't make the system. That's the way that the system is. And with all that being said, for this Red Wings team, it's different with them because there are tangible results I can look at. There's big wins over big-time teams. And they look like they are ready to roll, D-Mac. And I think Yzerman's kind of messed it up for everybody else, especially Troy Weaver, where I think people forget Weaver had to flip a roster in 9 months, an entire roster of an NBA franchise. Now, T-Foss, yes, they caught the break and got the number 1 pick, but T-Foss, you know as good as anybody out there. The NBA is different, man. And yes, one player can set you free and restore everything, but at the same time, you do need a couple of other dudes in a supporting role.
And I think Troy Weaver didn't have to flip it, but he saw what Van Gundy had done, and if he had gone the traditional route of trying to build this thing up there, he would be trying to build the Pistons for the next 10, 12 years.
Well, you got to remember, too, Blake Griffin's still on the books this year, man.
Right.
Like, think about that. I don't think people realize that.
Right. So he had a tough job, and but I think what happened is he's a victim of his success. Last year, even though they lost, you look at the Pistons and say, look at them. These dudes are playing hard, and they're doing all this. So I expect better for this season, but we're not seeing that. And I think that's because I think the Pistons have a good group of individual players who can't play together as a team for some reason.
Tammy Chin, our YouTube chat thread, says, I do pander for likes. I want to see it happen. So, Adam Baydoun will take a left hook if we get to 200 likes.
Here's the elephant in the room, right? and if nobody taught whatever like this is, but where the Tigers are at, because they're one of the baseball teams. This is the season with the Riley Greens, the Torkelsons. Are they going to get the Mises, the Scoobles, the Mannings off the schneid? You added the Tucker Barnhart as one of the best defensive catchers, Javi Baez. You got Miguel coming out saying that winning a championship is his only priority before he retires. They're the interesting one because now is their time. And I think that if things come together, you know, that's that team that Al Avila has put together that we didn't expect or have the confidence in him putting together. So the whole thing with baseball not even being here, we're sort of getting that. As tough as it's been in all four major sports, and then somebody gets close to being good, then you get it ripped off. With the Lions, I think everybody's in the same spot as, okay, we like where we're at with the guys making the decisions, but it's a wait and see, right? The Pistons, you realize it, the Pistons are further away than the Wings because the Wings are the same thing as that individually. They're great learning how to play together. You, Terry, with the Pistons, they need players. And they got to get, and like you said, the salary cap and different things like that to come together. They're in a little bit of time, but I also like when you have that pillar, that Cade Cunningham, the guy you're going to build the organization around, I believe you're further ahead.
And it goes back to what I just said, too, about the Red Wings. When Yzerman rolled up on the scene and you got Franz Nielsen, and I'm always going to go back to that contract. That is the worst contract, one of the worst contracts. People talk about Zimmerman and with the Tigers, and certainly that is the case. But that's the low-key worst contract in the history of Detroit sports, the Franz Nielsen contract that Ken Holland gave. Sorry about it. That's factual.
Do people listen? They don't listen. They just hear what they want, right?
Correct.
Because we're not talking about championships. We're talking about teams building and getting to the championship, right?
Sure.
Can we all agree that you said 2023, but it's probably 2024, 25.
No, I was just saying relevance, like 2023 relevance.
We're talking relevance. We're not talking championships.
Like
you clown.
Terry, you have the pulse of the people. Have we become desensitized to the playoffs? I think we have. I think the playoffs in the talk with Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions is so far in the rearview mirror now that we forget what it's even like to say, "Hey, it's a playoff game on tonight."
Right, or to make a run. Yeah, we don't think about any of these teams making the playoffs, so that's one. But we forget the excitement of a playoff run and forget about winning a championship or something. But you know what? The Wings won the first round against so-and-so. Who are they playing in the second round? And then they go into game 3 and game 4, and maybe it's 2-2 or something. That's excitement.
Right.
And we haven't had that in a while. And so sometimes you forget. You forget how great it was. You forget about what excitement it brought to the city and stuff, because we just haven't seen it in a long time. This is 2022. Last time we saw that was 16.
Yeah, and look, Brad Holmes is always going to be the guy with the most pressure on him because he's the GM of the NFL team in the city. That's just the way that it's going to be. But I'm curious, who do you guys think has the most pressure on them? And I contend it's Al Avila. Just in terms of they spent some money on a shortstop. Now that shortstop better hit. And I understand that YT Sparty said Miguel Cabrera is still on the books too. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's still a player, and we could talk about that stuff at a later time, probably as the baseball season approaches, if it ever approaches, which we'll talk about coming up in just a little bit. But I mean, for me, it's just where I think Al Avila has the most pressure because they are in a spot, and look, I'm on the record. We talked about it. I wasn't the biggest backer of the Baez thing. I didn't think this team was ready for that yet, T. Foss. And where even with the Lions this year, I would prefer the Lions to sit out free agency. For real, I would. I want one more year where we can clear the Trey Flowers of the world and things like that. I want one more year, and then we roll out. You know what I'm saying?
They would set out free agency because who wants to come here now?
But not by choice, right?
Yeah, that's right. If you got a name, you're not coming here. If you're a middling free agent, maybe you need an opportunity. But I'm glad you mentioned Al Avila's maybe having the most pressure on him, because I think he's in a tough spot. One, I'm not sure Chris Ilitch wants to be all in when it's time to do this.
Right.
But
the Joe Dumars effect.
Right. What A.J. Hinch did was he accelerated the process. I'm sure Chris Ilitch wanted to go get a guy like Baez in 2 years. But A.J. Hinch came in, did a heck of a job, and said, no, we're ready to start moving up now. And so that put pressure on Chris Ilitch, who I'm not sure he wants to be all in. And then Al Avila, too, is like, okay, the moves I was thinking about making in 2 or 3 years, I got to start making now.
And I wonder if it's compromised. I wonder if the plan is compromised.
And when you look at this town, people are not confident that Al Avila can do that. I think they look at him as the bottom rung.
What they look at it as, thank goodness A.J. Hinch is there because he's running the ship and Al's sort of the puppet, right? Like we all not look at Al Avila the way that it's come through the system and stuff. We don't take him serious. Out of all the 4 GMs, right, he's not given any respect.
I agree.
That's
I
just the
agree.
truth. And the fact that he's got A.J. Hinch there, that's where we're like, oh, okay, we're good. To your point, what you said is that the Joe Dumars effect, Chris Ilitch not being all in, whatever like that, A.J. forcing his hand. A.J. Hinch is forcing his hand.
And the other thing, and let me defend Avila from this standpoint, he wasn't brought in to make the Tigers better initially. He was brought in to make the farm system better, and then hopefully that would trickle up to the Tigers. So his process was going to take a few more years because Dave Dombrowski had no interest in building the farm system. Dave Dombrowski had the luxury
we know that.
Make the Tigers better. That's all you got to focus on. That's what he focused on.
Ship them out.
Here's what you need to focus on. If you want to get down on some of this action that's going on, remember March Madness just around the corner. You need to focus on mybookie.ag. Big time deposit bonus right now. Double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. All you got to do, use a promo code Woodward. Boom, you're in there. That's it. And you are ready to rock. March Madness coming up. Maybe you're a NASCAR guy. Sawyer jumped in the NASCAR world as well. I jumped in it, and D-Mac, hustled me with some eggs that I'll have to pay tomorrow because today's taco day. But that being said, if you want to get in on any of that stuff, mybookie.ag is the way to go. And I talked about the bonus deposit, where the double your first deposit with the promo code Woodward. That's cool. That's fun. That's nice. But here's the angle with mybookie.ag. The site's clean. It's easy to use. It's easy to navigate. It's fast. You're going to get your action in. That's the way it works. That's what the key is in this thing that you're doing right now when you're getting down on all the sports action. One more time, double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Use a promo code Woodward. Anything you want to get down on, you can do it with MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline. If it's spiraling out of control for you, make the phone call. 1-800-270-7117. We'll be back with more Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, and Sawyer here with you, wrapping up this discussion where I think Yzerman maybe skewed the reality of how these rebuilds and ascensions all work for these teams. And you brought up an interesting point to me, D-Mac, with Al Avila, where it's weird because I feel like I've always been critical. But if this Riley Green thing works out the way that everybody's thinking that it might, But you talk about draft, and look, it's easy. Is it easier to have the number 1 overall pick and draft Casey Mize? Yeah, that's easier, but it's still baseball. The odds are against it working, just based off sheer numbers. But if you look at him, and especially me, I have to be consistent, right, with a guy that loves rookie deals and all that kind of stuff. If you roll out and you draft Mize, Torkelson, I was a big Torkelson guy because he broke Barry Bonds' records at Arizona State, and Riley Green, and all 3 of those hit, then you're a good GM. You're good at drafting.
Let's go back to what Terry said about the stopgap build in the minor league system that Dave Dombrowski went on to Boston, who depleted trades, getting everybody here, building the runs that we're talking about back in, the 2014, all those stuff when we had the team that didn't get it done. But to your point, yeah, you got to give him his flowers when he deserves his flowers, and the fact that he's been able to draft these guys. Not only that, but also the Scoobles, the Mannings, making these decisions on free agents. We'll see what Javi Baez presents. Tucker Barnhart, one of the best defensive catchers in the league. So they're putting a team together, and Al Avila's put a team together. And to your point, a lot of these guys are draft guys, which means longer contract with the team that drafted them, which means putting ourselves in a good spot. So to that point, maybe we're not giving Al Avila enough credit. Now, we need to see more, obviously, because he's got to prove more, right? He's got to always prove more because he wasn't this guy, and it wasn't this, and he was just supposed to be the stopgap, and he was just supposed to fix the minor leagues and stuff. Well, maybe he is actually proving that he is the capable GM and the guy that deserves to turn this franchise around, because he's putting people in positions. Hopefully we get to see it. Not really sure if we are or not, but on paper, right, you got to give him his flowers from the draft capital and the contract sides.
Tifos, where are you at right now with Al Avila?
Al Avila is never going to get credit for putting a good team together if he indeed does that. I understand what his role was. And, you talk about a 5-year plan. Well, his 5-year plan is going to be 8, 9, 10 years. So that's why he's not going to get credit for it. But the jury's still out on him as far as I'm concerned. I still think he's competent. I know he's made mistakes in the past, but what his role was, building the farm system, is tough. And so, because his predecessor, Dave Dombrowski, did a wonderful job, but he didn't have the pressure of building a farm system. That's why the Tigers' farm system was one of the worst in baseball. And so now it's gone up, but now we're not seeing. Maybe this summer, if they play, we will finally see the fruits of his labor, because he kind of blew the Justin Verlander trade. We didn't see.
Got nothing.
Yeah, got nothing for those things. But now he's getting a second chance with Torkelson and all these young guys who could bail him out.
Yeah, but I will, and here's where I will cut a break to Avila with the Verlander trade. And this is a little different. It's a little under the surface than probably most people realize. The more salary you eat, the better the return gets for Verlander. In that they didn't eat a ton of his salary, and the more they would have, then the higher the prospects that they would have got in return. Now, I don't remember the intricacies of the Astros farm system at the time, but that was an organizational thing. That was a financial move. There are different layers to baseball trades, I guess you can say, where, again, going back to it, the more of the contract you will take on, the higher the return, because the more valuable Justin Verlander becomes to the Astros, which means more that they'll part with. And it's almost like it goes back, and you and I have talked about this before, T-Foss, when Joe Dumars at the end of the GM run, they always talk about the Ben Gordon and the Charlie V thing, which little did we know. I mean, you probably knew because you were in those circles, but they were planning on selling the franchise, right? So you don't want to take on a bunch of contracts that's going to drive down the value. And this is just my thoughts. I've never talked to anybody about this before. This is just me looking at it. I don't know if you ever heard any of these things. It was very similar to that to me, where the organization controlled what free agents were going to be signed, or in this case with Avila, what free agencies what free agents could be brought in, / what kind of trades they could make and what kind of salary of those trades that they could take on. I think there were a lot of similarities there. And that was organizational, T-Foss, to me anyway.
Yeah, it probably was. Yes, I had heard that they wanted to sell the Pistons and the Tigers. Avila is joined at the hip by Chris Ilitch.
Right.
So
and he has the hammer.
Right. He's got the hammer, and he's going to talk about, I want to win. But Chris Ilitch, in my mind, will never match what Mike Ilitch was. And so Chris Ilitch, you could say he's going to be scrutinized too, because he's never going to be, in my mind, what the dad was. He might spend something here and there and blah, 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 but is he going to be all in?
Well, here's the bottom line with it, Terry. As I look at it right now, and D-Mac, you know this, Spotrac is always my friend. You got a payroll of $103 million. And that's with 35 of that going to Miggy. So you got $78 million before you reach the tax threshold, to whereas they were butting up against that / paying into it during the heyday. Baseball's like that, where you can just decide to be good one day.
Well, that's what isn't that what they're negotiating on when you hear luxury tax and stuff like this, is how much teams can go over. I think you brought up a good point. Just because you can spend it doesn't mean you're going to spend it, to Terry's point. We always go into the fact that the Tigers and the Red Wings under the Ilitch ownership, but that was Mike Ilitch, right? That spent that way. Chris Ilitch isn't his father. So I think we got to take that into consideration is what are the parameters that Avila is working with compared to the parameters, like you said, what Steve Yzerman's working with. But it's also two different setups, like you said, as far as against the cap, the money going out. This is where you get back to some of the moves that were done in the past coming back to haunt you. But Steve Yzerman doesn't have any of these contracts on his books. The fact you're not going to see him go out and sign a guy that's not going to earn the money. So, again, I think that's the poignant part, Terry, is the fact that the Ilitch ownership isn't the old Ilitch ownership. Chris does it differently. They're different than his dad.
Different goals.
And I don't understand with the Detroit Tigers specifically why you would not spend. Because if you have a competitive team out there,
these fans have shown
they
will roll out.
You're gonna get 3.5 million fans there, as opposed to maybe 2.3 million or 2 million. They're gonna show up, have a good time. They're gonna drink your beer, eat your hot dogs, canned cocktails, whatever you got out there. They're going to wolf them down.
By the way, our YouTube chat poll right now, are canned cocktails blasphemous? 50-50. That's pretty incredible.
Wow, that's Florida election. Crazy.
A little less shady.
Right, absolutely.
A little more scientific here with Sawyer manning over everything. Rich Diana says, still paying Miggy $32 million a year is ridiculous. Think of the talent you could acquire with that money. So my question is, then what do? And if you wanted Miggy, which you were, Rich, I'm sure you were leading the charge of the cheers when he was winning the Triple Crown and stuff like that, that's what the market dictated. This was the only way that this was going to end, the day that contract was signed. And you know what? I'm cool with it. And I don't, as it gets down to the end, Terry, I don't want to hear the Miggy slander either. I don't want to hear it, because that man plays every game. Every game that he can play, he's out there. He's not coasting through and taking games off and stuff like that, other than like physical limitation stuff. Miggy gave everything he had, man. Everything he had.
He did. But, the other thing is, when you go through the part of the contract that you enjoyed, everybody warned you that it's going to be ugly at the end.
100%.
Do you want to go through this? And everybody says, yep, because he's Triple Crown and he's hitting all these blasts. Yes, I'm in. This is the part that you don't like to see, but it's going to happen in baseball with high-profile players, because they want 10-year deals. People want 15-year deals. The end of those deals are going to be bad.
Well,
but
you think that they
enjoy the good spot.
Well, you think they could be in the financials to what the return is, but here's the one thing: we got an engaged Miguel Cabrera. And engaged means he wants to play, and I saw
and he's easy to engage, man.
And engaged, so what he can bring to these younger guys to bring them along, the value of that contract is so much bigger, especially if you have some younger guys that are making the step. Imagine being around Miguel Cabrera for the next 2 years, just picking his brain on hitting and these young guys and stuff. So I think in this case, you look for what the best possibility. And the fact that Miggy's engaged, because I've seen him not engaged, but to your fact, he's going to do everything he can to help this team and put him in the right position.
Mike Burnham on our YouTube chat threads. Miggy should do the right thing and retire and allow the Tigers to use that money to build a championship team. Nah, bro. Nah, bro.
Dude, must see TV.
He earned every dollar.
Dude, he's one of these guys that you're going to, like one of the last old school, a guy that's hit the Triple Crown. Not saying that somebody's not going to do it again, but this is a special player, and he's must-see baseball. He's one of those must-see guys.
Yeah.
Right, especially here. And Terry, we mentioned it. If you put a product out there, we'll show up.
That is the case. There is no question. I show up at Planet Fitness all the time. Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone, where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. Membership starts at just $10 a month for access to your home club. Also a black card option for $22.99 a month. That gets you unlimited use of all the amenities, the unlimited tanning, the hydro massage, the massage chairs, total body enhancement. I think the biggest thing with it, access to over 2,000 locations worldwide with unlimited guest privileges. You just walk in the door, scan your card, and boom, you're in there, no matter where you are. If you're Terry Foster in rural Indiana working out, or if you're down in Miami Beach, it doesn't matter. Scan that card and roll on in to Planet Fitness. No matter where you are, there's one close by. Now open in Midtown Detroit at the Detroit Pistons Performance Center. You can join today in club. You're going to pass it on the way home. So just pull in the parking lot and do it. Sign up, walk in there. Planet Fitness, man. You can get it in clean gyms, great staff as well. Matt, my people over there at Troy, they're the best in the game. As my son would say, they're goated on the sticks. There is no question about that. Right now, $0 down, $10 a month. Planet Fitness also hiring all positions. For more information, go to planetfitness.com. Planet Fitness, DMAC, where
fitness is essential.
There it is. Your fitness is essential. We'll be back with more Big D Energy. Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. We got Sam Flannel. We got Sawyer as well. Storytime with T. Foss coming up in just a little bit as well. So get those two choices. When we come back from the next break, Terry, we'll line them up. All right? Is that fair?
All right, fair.
That is fair. We're talking a little bit of baseball. I know that whole GM discussion kind of spun off into more of an Avila Tigers type discussion, but there is some news. The MLB and the Major League Baseball Players Association are finally meeting for longer than 15 minutes. Even though spring training is going to start late, I guess there is still hope. The MLB and the MLBPA. And this is Jesse Rogers from ESPN. The Players Association and MLB have been inside the Roger Dean Stadium for over 3 hours. Unclear how much time they spent together or if they were in different rooms, but neither side has come out yet. Then he updated that. Meeting is over, more tweaks, no huge game changer. MLB added $5 million to the pre-arbitration bonus pool and one more team to the draft lottery. Union was underwhelmed. League made its last offer on the collective bargaining table and is waiting for a counter from the union on that. It's going to be a long week. And I think that we're seeing here, Terry, a lot like we see with all the organizations. Deadlines make deals. And, the common sports fan wants to say, well, this stuff ended December 4th. Where were you guys? There was no pressure. There's no pressure on anyone. There's going to be no movement because you still have time. But as a deadline comes, now the view changes, right, on both sides.
Yeah, and, spring training delayed. We don't know when opening day is going to be. And so this is when the pressure comes in. But here's the bottom line is, no matter what agreement is reached, the owners and the players are going to be in great shape. Of all the labor disputes we have, baseball is the one that pisses me off the most because there's really
Why?
because there's no issues, really.
They're all the same issues every single time.
Right. The owners want more. Major League Baseball wants more. In football, at least you have the you have the fight with players and injuries and health care and stuff like that. And the NHL, those guys in comparison make so little money compared to other sports organizations. I can see where the fight is there. But in baseball, everybody's getting hooked up. Everybody. But still, we're going to lock them out. And the other thing is, let me talk to the general public now. You guys do not know the difference between a lockout and a strike, because I get a lot of stuff from Twitter and emails from people. What are the players doing? They got so much. I'm like, okay, players are locked out. They were fine with their agreement.
We're trying to get in the door. The door's locked.
Right.
We're locked out. We can't get in to work.
Right.
It's
like
not
Guardian
that
Alarm
we're
on
showing
the
up.
door.
We're showing up. We're locked out.
Yeah,
Stay out.
It's not like the players are saying, I'm not showing
That's
up.
a strike.
You're unfair
A strike's
to me.
when I'll be in Florida. Call me. I'm not coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The lockout is when I'm standing there at the arena door or whatever like this, and the bars are on the door, and they're saying nope. So and that's important because that's initiated. And in hockey, there hasn't been a strike. In baseball, there has been in the past where the players have got up, but it's always been a lockout in our game where the owners say nope. You're not playing. We got to sit down and figure this out. I think that's the frustrating thing, Terry, because it's just they're fighting over the same things, as you said, Neil. Every time it's about you. Oh, the luxury tax. Well, let's move the luxury. The
service time.
The service time. They're always fighting over these things, and at the end of the day, what does it hurt? It hurts the fans. So when will something happen when it affects the pocketbook? It doesn't really affect the pocketbook. I guess it does during spring training to some of those facilities and stuff like this.
Yeah, but that's not grand. That's not the players or the owners. Yeah.
Right? That can be on the players, right? Because and
but
that's more of a punishment to the players, right, who look forward to starting their year out, in that routine.
But you know what the owners can do? Yeah, we missed a little spring training. We missed a few games early in the season. I'm going to charge you 50 cents more for a hot dog or $1 more for a beer. And guess what? Fans are going to pay it.
They are.
So they can make it back in a couple weeks.
$1 more for a canned cocktail.
I just think, does anybody just think that the fact that when you, what does this tell you about when they sit down and they meet for 15 minutes? Or you can't even say hi to the room in 15 minutes.
The deadline's not here yet. The deadlines make deals, man.
Right.
They do.
No, I get it. So what are we waiting for? What's the deadline?
It's exactly what you said. That first strike to a wallet.
So when is that?
I would probably
Opening
say,
day?
yeah, that's what I would say. And here's how I think this will break down, Tifos. You tell me if I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
The players want free agency after 5 years instead of 6.
Yes.
That's what they want. Okay, seems reasonable. That's going to be a big expense to the owners.
The owners are asking for like 8 years.
Yeah, they want lifetime rookie
right.
contracts. The players want the luxury tax threshold raised, i.e., they want the Dodgers and the Yankees to be able to spend more money tax-free, because who pays the biggest contracts?
Bam.
The Dodgers and the Yankees and all of those teams. So they make more money therefore. So those seems to be like the two, overriding issues that they're at war with right now. How I think this is going to go down, where the owners will just say, hey, we're chilling, we're good, we're fine, we like it. Once it gets into the players' pockets, and here's the trump card that the owners always have over the players. A player's career is 5 years long.
Well, the clock's ticking.
The clock is ticking on your career the second you show up. On average, what an athlete's
career... The owner
career...
makes it through how many people's career?
All of them.
Right. Right? All of them.
Right. And there's the lower tier players who I'm making $500,000 a year, maybe for 5 years, and this is great money. But when that 5 years is over, I'm going to be making $45,000 somewhere. So those guys are like you're screwing my 5-year window here. What's happening? The guys making 30.
Well, you look at here. I'll give you
Don't
a
care.
real example. Is you look at like going through the whole year lockout in 04-05. That was a part of a 3-year contract where that was the highest paid I would ever have been. I was supposed to make $2.5 million that year, and that would have been the highest I ever paid for a season. I'd made $2 million before that or whatever like that, but boom, gone. So that's the whole. You can't make.
And that just went away, right?
It's just like it didn't exist. Like you signed a 2-year.
You missed a year of your playing career and $2.5 million.
Value, you're always that guy, sort of.
And that window is always short for everyone. Like your high value window. Like forget about your playing career. You were lucky you played a long time, but I'm talking about your prime earning years.
Then you lose. On your overall. Right. When you lose the biggest one, it didn't hurt as much when I was making $300,000 in 1995 and I lost half my paycheck. Well, you're making $150,000 and $300,000. Well, that's not to be as Mike Tyson said. Somebody says the money's everything. Obviously, I've never had money, right? Because it's not.
Right.
But $300,000 and $150,000 seem similar. Right, the money, the extra money. When you make over $10,000 a paycheck, $10,000 a paycheck and $20,000 a paycheck, it's in the same world of what you do with it. But when you're making $100,000 a paycheck every 2 weeks, stuff like that. That was my. I got to look at one of Nick Lidstrom's one time. That's pretty big. Big. And then
definition of built different.
Sergey had his signing bonus check for to see a $26 million check. It was real.
Like he had the check.
If he wanted me to cash it, and I just said, the half a percentage.
So he had the physical check for $26 million.
Yeah, I saw the physical check.
Hey, they put that in the
you know what? It
newspaper.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Might not have been. It might have been the copy of the real one.
Okay,
right? So,
I gotcha.
So, but yeah. But I'm just saying those are realities. And then when you're talking baseball, a lot of it is, and this is what they like to do too. Oh, hey, the minimum. Oh, the minimum's 400. Let's bump that up to 450. We'll get you. We'll take care of the little guy. So the 450 or 500, which is great for the new guy coming in, for the younger guys, for stuff like this, for the journeyman. But again, they get it back on the top end because of the service time.
Yeah, and again, how this is all going to break down is this will get pressed, and then the season's going to start late, and they'll end up playing 120-game season or 115-game season.
Here's my question, right? Because, again, everybody's just sort of like where they are right now. Coming out of this, whichever way we do, is this apparent more to the fans than ever? Just as far, the ownership in the league just... It's their league. We always say about the NFL, and it's like, well, the NFL doing NFL things. Vince McMahon.
It's the owner's league. It is.
So, but do fans realize more so, like, that this case is like the owners? It's the owners being bullies.
They don't. You
don't think they do even after
no,
this?
I think
because they don't care, Terry?
No, because they don't educate themselves.
Okay.
They see games are not being played. They blame the players. They don't know the difference between lockout and strike. And the other part of this is, why do you have a 15-minute meeting? Because you don't give a damn. I don't want to mess up my day. I don't feel pressured right now. And the fans are the last thing on players and owners' mind. Because yeah, you're not getting your game, but I'm going to get your money eventually. I may not get it in April, but I'm going to get it in June or July. So I really don't give a damn what you think. You're not important, because I don't need you in the stands. I can still make money. I got TV, I got radio, I got all kinds of different things. And I think what happened with the pandemic, it shows how unimportant fans are to these people.
Yeah, and in summation, like how this will all break down is the deadline will come. They'll get to the point where they got to do 115, 120-game season. And then the owners, to get what they want, will go to the players and say, hey, slide towards our side on this free agency thing. Slide towards our side on this luxury tax thing, and we'll pay you for a full season. We'll pay you a 162-game rate, and the players will take it. because they got hit in the wallet. And it's the only way that they can get that money back, because they will never get that money back in their lives. And that's why the owners always win, because they have the ultimate leverage. They do. Players have a limited career. Rich owners are going to be rich forever. That's what it is, man. That's exactly the way that it is. Just like it's the way it is when Sawyer walks into the Foaling Warehouse. He's going to snipe some pins and he's going to drink some mystery beer. That's it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know how it goes every time we're over there. Basically just carbon copy every time. You got to go in. You know, you pay your $10. You get there right when they open, because when you pay $10, you can stay from open to close. And then I always go in, find myself a nice mystery beer machine at one of their 2 giant bars located in the warehouse, give them my $2. They give me a mystery beer back, and then my adventure at the Foaling Warehouse has been kicked off. And then we go play some foaling for a little bit, meander our way back to the mystery beer machine, put another $2 in, get another great beer out, go play some more Foaling Warehouse, wait till my arm gets sore, then I crack open my lunch that I was able to bring in. You know, I don't have to pay overpriced bar rates for food. I can just bring my own food in, Uber Eats it in. So once I'm done eating, then I go back, look at the mystery beer machine. But if I don't want to get the mystery beer, then I just choose from one of their over 100 beers that they have on menu. I mean, it's so easy, so simple, so good to choose from. And I mean, if you don't want to go by yourself or with a couple people, you have a bigger group, just pay $120 for a private lane reservation for up to 10 people, 2 hours of fun. I mean, such a great deal, such a good way to get out there, get some action, be social now that football season's over. You know, they got not 100 TVs. That would be a lot of TVs to have on the wall, but they have a lot of TVs on the wall, so they're always playing sports, Sports Center. No NASCAR is going to be on there on Sundays now, so
yeah,
that'll be a hot place for me to be on Sundays, enjoying some mystery beers. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, just go to thefoalingwarehouse.com. I'll say it one more time. Go to thefoalingwarehouse.com or go to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. This is Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. We got Neil on the desk, D-Mac on the desk, Terry Foster chilling on the couch, Flannel Sam making sure we sound good in the audio booth, and I'm just in here keeping us live. We will be right back.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Coming down the stretch here, Big D Energy. Neil Rule for Chili Peppers Tanning, the cleanest salons in the D. Spotless, sanitized room. Trained and certified tanning professionals. Was out there yesterday at their brand new location, the grand opening in Berkeley. Got a chance to talk with them, tour the facilities there. Trust me, every word that I just said is 100% true. They know the stuff over there. So if you want to start the tanning thing, maybe you got a Florida vacation. Some of you in our YouTube chat thread said they're mad at baseball because now they can't go to spring training, so they're going to go to the beaches instead. Go get that base and go to Chili Peppers Tanning to do it. You can join the Pepper Club. They'll get you all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by at least $5. They have all the lines of the lotions and everything too. Australian Gold, Designer Skin, Caltan, and Swedish Beauty Lotions. They got the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. They are your vitamin D headquarters. 26 locations and more on the way. It was a good time out there on Woodward, just south of 12 Mile at the Chili Peppers Tanning location in Berkeley. It's Chili Peppers Tanning, the best in the game. Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, T. Foss, Terry Foster in the house, Sam Flannel, and Sawyer. We have closed our YouTube chat poll. I was surprised, pretty much a 50-50 proposition. I said, are canned cocktails blasphemous? And you guys said no, that they weren't. So, I mean, well, it's 50-50. So, they are, it's a little too much. I will say that. But T. Foss, Storytime with Terry Foster coming up in about 22-ish minutes. Give the people their choices for the Choose Your Own Adventure.
All right, here's the adventures. One, how I got a woman on a flight from San Francisco to Detroit by her posing as my wife. And
I already want that one. I don't care what this next one is.
The thing, Margarita was involved.
Oh,
at least one Margarita was involved.
There's no way this doesn't win, Sawyer. All right, what's the other one, T. Boss?
That's the only one I want to do.
Yeah.
The other one is, and the Margarita was involved, was New Year's Eve when I was asleep and woke up, and I thought I was laying down in front of a furnace. What I had done is I passed out in front of this girl with really bad breath.
Those are two strong choices right there here.
And it was in Grand Rapids.
A New Year's Eve in Grand Rapids for TFOS?
Yeah, I lived in Grand Rapids for a year and a half. 16 months is the event.
All right. Well, those are the choices. Sawyer will have it up on the YouTube chat poll momentarily. I think we know which one that we want to hear from.
And that is the best one.
Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, Terry's already spiking the Kool-Aid here, so you guys know. You guys do the right things. Don't be jerks, all right? Come on. Do the right thing and pick the right one, and you know what I mean.
Landslide.
Yeah, you know what I mean when I say that. I did want to touch on this. The XFL and the NFL are going to partner up together, I guess, to innovate together on game rules. The XFL chairwoman, Danny Garcia, said the XFL is not a developmental league. So you have the XFL, you have the USFL. And Terry, look, I loved the USFL back in the day when I was a really little kid, as much as the next person. Our team was good, so that was weird, and that the Michigan Panthers were actually good and won a championship. But this XFL thing, the USFL draft is today. The Michigan Panthers have the number 1 overall pick.
How'd that happen?
I guess it was a lottery. I don't know. But
Take it.
Jeff Fisher will be the coach. Somebody said earlier in the month in our YouTube chat poll, Panthers are guaranteed to be at least 500 if Jeff Fisher is the coach. But with all that being said, Terry, this XFL stuff, this USFL stuff, it's not going to work. And we keep running these leagues out here with the days of yore and comparing things to the USFL. People forget about a key component, Terry. You had the best players in football in the USFL. You had Steve Young in $40 million contracts. You had Herschel Walker. You had Reggie White. That's not going to be the case. My son is intrigued by the USFL. My son's going to be on the show Thursday, D-Mac. He's on vacation this week. We talked about getting him out there. That'll be a lot of fun.
Excited, and I'm thoroughly excited because we are going to get into the world of the new age. Is he a millennial? Gen Z?
No, he's the one below that.
Gen Z?
He's 14, whatever a 14-year-old is these days.
Wrestling, video games, let's go,
yeah.
let's go.
We'll talk about it with him. But he's intrigued by this whole USFL thing, the XFL thing. And I don't want to break his heart, Terry, because he's passionate about it. If you don't have good players, people aren't going to watch, man.
That's true. Here's the mistake these people are making. They think that America is addicted to football. That's not true. The nation is addicted to the National Football League. They are addicted to college football because their schools are playing, and they root for their schools, and they root against certain people. When you put the USFL, that's nice, but I'm not going out of my way to see that.
No.
Now, the Lions, as bad as they are, yes, I'll go out of my way to see them because it's National Football
You
League.
nailed it, right? Now I'm going to go to my favorite sport, wrestling, right? Because the NFL and the WWE, Vince McMahon, Roger,
they share a lot of qualities.
They share a lot of qualities as far as worldwide. When you think wrestling and stuff like this, why does AEW or did AEW work? Which after 2 years being around and stuff like that is because they had the talent. Right, they had the Jerichos, they had the Cody Rhodes, right? They keep bringing the Kenny Omegas, the Young Bucks. They keep bringing in the John Moxleys. Now they got the CM Punks, the Bryan Danielsons. And they take a lot of the guys that WWE, whose business model is more to the NFL's, right? You look at the money that the WWE made, record earnings. Yet cutting contracts and making it tighter and ran more like the NFL, like a business. Now, why it worked is because they had the talent, right? They continue to have the talent. They push a different project. But at the end of the day, they're still always fighting uphill against the WWE. For me, as a wrestling fan, I like it all. Love what you love. Compete against yourself, right? Like this. So if you're a diehard football fan, but to Terry's point, it's more about the brand and how you're conditioned to watch, right? Because what have you been conditioned to watch your whole life football-wise? If your family is part of a college fraternity, or even if you're not, you grow up around here, it's Michigan State College, and then the Lions are pick another team, right? It's the NFL. That's what's given to you. I don't think that the XFL, the USFL, all these things can get the talent in, but handle and get off the ground and build some momentum, right? Because you have to be able to do it, for 1, 2, 3 years. And the history tells us that it's not going to work.
Right. And we have to fall in love or fall in hate with somebody in that league. And but there's another dangerous thing that the USFL, it's showing once again, we don't need fans. Because, the Michigan Panthers are not playing in Michigan.
No.
None of these teams
bubble,
are playing.
right?
No, they're going to be in some sterile environment where it's televised nationally. So if you watch, it might work for a while. But they don't need you in the stands. And that's the sad thing about the USFL.
My question to you, Neil, is does the USFL get more viewership than the Olympics did? Because
we'll talk about that coming up in just a couple minutes.
The answer is no. So it's all about what? Because now it's all about the viewership, right? They're bubbling it up first year, making it out of one stadium, and I sort of get that. We've seen how the NHL was able to capture the playoffs in the bubble, stuff like this a few years ago, and stuff like this. But it's putting eyes on it. Now, and it consistently put eyes. Now, it's going to put eyes on it for the first few weeks because everything new. But what are they going to do to maintain it? Remember the XFL last time they went with name your own, he hate me, and all the different thing. I think one guy that I remember out of that is P.J. Walker, who ended up being a quarterback for Carolina, right? So what's going to keep me there? What's going to keep me there? Why is this just not?
It's not.
Right.
It's not going to keep you there.
That's what I'm asking. So the bottom line, if you're not going to get the viewers and you can't, and it just we'll get there to the viewership of the Olympics, but you're dealing with something that's trying to get off the ground. We're talking about the Olympics. If you're not going to, people are going to watch that, commit to that. I know it's football, but are you going to, you're not programmed to watch football in the springtime, right? You've put that time to something else. How many people are going to adjust because the product's going to bring them there?
And all those factors are true, and we saw it, as you talked about. We saw that with COVID. Two-track Jack's got an interesting one. The XFL champs should play the Grey Cup champs for the North American title.
Well, you know what? They might have something if they all get together and who knows?
but they can't, D-Mac, because there's not enough players. There's not enough good players.
I know it comes down to talent.
Yeah, no one's going to care.
There's not enough talent to carry it.
Yeah, and that's it. It's doomed before it starts. And look, I want it to work. Again, I'm very nostalgic about the USFL. Grommet 0237. USFL brings back days at the Silverdome. Those were good times. And you're going to watch the first week, Terry. You'll watch. And maybe here locally, if the Panthers start 2-0 or 3-0 because we're so starved for a cracker.
But you know what? Why should I give a damn about the Michigan Crackers? Panthers. They don't play in Michigan, right?
Do you, Terry, at all?
I don't give a damn about it. They don't play it. You just slap a name on some franchise that's hundreds of miles away from where I live. Am I really going to invest myself and say, hey, this is my team? No. If I see him playing at, of course, you can't play at the Silverdome anymore. If I see him playing at Ford Field, if I see him playing at Adams Field, if I see him playing at Eastern, maybe I'll get that connection. But this
you're not, Terry. No one's going to care.
Yeah, this is foolery.
Yeah, if the team here wins, maybe people here will care. Maybe. They probably will.
Are we going to have a parade for a team that doesn't play here?
Well, I think what you do is you have the Stafford parade and the Michigan Panthers parade all on the same day. Just to cut costs.
Which would you go to? If the Michigan Panthers
all the way
won the championship and don't play any games here, and they had a Stafford parade, which one would you go to?
Oh, Michigan Panthers 110 times out of 100.
See, I'd go to the Matthew Stafford parade because at least he played here once upon a time.
That's just trolling.
Yeah, dude, you're just saying that, Terry. You're just saying
Michigan Panthers don't play here. Why should I?
Because Michigan's in their name. And I'll tell you what, too. I'll go so far as to say this. If Jeff Fisher punches another coach or slaps another coach, I'll defend him and say he shouldn't be suspended.
Okay. And I'll say, he just brought the hood out of himself. Jeff Fisher.
Oh, man.
Jeff Fisher, the thug.
All right. Can we get serious?
All right.
Neil Rule for the Sports Marketing Agency. SMA has been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for a decade against the issues around mental health and substance abuse disorder. With the help of NFL alumni, Sean Jordan has been able to save lives and take a stand against these issues. Coming soon to Woodward Sports, the Sports Marketing Agency podcast. This is the F Word, a series on fentanyl. If you're struggling with substance abuse disorder or mental health, they are here to help. Go to thesportsma.com. Again, that's thesportsma.com, and you can find out more about SMA, the Sports Marketing Agency.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
No off season for us. We're talking sports 365. Detroit Sports Network. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster, Darren McCarty coming down the stretch, Sam Flannel and Sawyer as well. YouTube chat poll right now. Storytime with Terry Foster coming up in about 10 minutes. You can choose your own adventure. Choice number 1. He had a woman pose as his wife to get on a flight going from San Francisco to Detroit, which involved margaritas on National Margarita Day. Or his New Year's Eve story, passed out next to a woman with bad breath and thought that the heater was on. So, while entertaining, I think we all know which way we want to go. And had a woman pose as his wife has an 81%.
Okay, and there was a gay guy involved in this story, too.
So there you have it. I think we all know which way that we're going to go. Mike says The Rock is running the XFL this time. I pray he does something extraordinary to change the perception. If not, it should be scrapped for good. What's he going to change? Like, what magic talent pool is he going to get to? Bad quarterback play is bad quarterback play. And
he's going to introduce the players like he did the Super Bowl.
Which was fine. It was cool. I enjoyed it. But, for the Super Bowl once a year, like every single game, that's not going to work, man. It's not going to work unless you have a good quarterback or a good linebacker.
They'll come up with some cockamamie rules or something.
It doesn't, and people will watch for a week, and then that'll be it.
What if they say you can carry firearms on the field? That might get you going.
like the last Boy Scout?
Right.
Scott Klinger. Hey, Neil, when do you think the Pistons will be in the hunt for a title? I mean, it depends on the draft, man. You got to hit that draft unicorn, like the Devin Booker-ish type pick where he can get you that third star, and away you go. So we have to see how the draft shakes out. Pistons are in line to have a good pick. We'll see what happens. I wasn't Team Chet Holmgren for a long time, but I'm starting to... Dude shooting 47% from behind the three-point line, Terry. I don't care who he's playing for, who he's playing against. 47% from behind the three-point line.
That is impressive. The thing that scares me about him is he's got a little bird chest.
Yeah. There is a little flail to the body. There is no doubt about it. Not the most
masculine-looking brother in the world, but if you can shoot 47%,
yep,
that's money.
Did want to discuss this. The Winter Olympics in Beijing had their lowest viewership ever by the Winter Olympics. What can change about the Winter Games to fix their problem? And DMAC, I've said this from Jump Street, a lot like my whole USFL, XFL debate, there are certain absolutes in life. For football, it's got to be good football. We're not going to watch it. And this is just a statement of fact due to a trend that I've noticed. It is in no way a comment on world politics or any of those things. When the Olympics are on in China, when they're on in Japan, when they're on in South Korea, I would imagine this would be the case even in Australia as well. In that time zone area, it's not going to work. The same thing I said 2 weeks ago when this thing was starting. When Fish asked me, are you going to watch? No, I'm not going to watch. And no, the rest of America's not going to watch. I don't know if it's live. I don't know if it's not live. Did this happen already? I saw on Twitter what happened in the hockey game, so no, I'm not going to go back and watch it. The timing is not going to work. You can get to about Europe before people will still tap in here in America. And there's nowhere else to go from California out towards Japan. So you can't have it anywhere there. You can go to about Europe, and that's it. And you can have it on during the day, and people will keep tabs on it. If I don't know what's live or not live, and if I already know what happened, I'm not watching it. I'm never going to watch it. America's shown they're not going to watch it, and that's it. That's the only thing you can do to save it. Not have it in Asia or Australia or on the other side of the world. That's it.
I don't find it that hard to follow when it's in Italy, when it's in
Europe,
France, when it's in stuff like that, but no interest. And I think the big thing, too, that was the boom, pop the balloon this year was you get excited when the NHL guys are going to be in there.
That was their only hope with me.
And stuff like this. So it really deflates the balloon. So when it comes to hockey and stuff like that, but I like the other sports. I was at the '88 Olympics in Calgary when the Cool Runnings, watched them go down, watched them flip over. I was at the top of the hill when they flipped at the bottom, the Jamaican bobsled team. But what a great experience, But that to be at, but something like this, as far as the television, halfway across the world, already done half it. Like we get off here and the results and stuff. I don't like watching sports or whatever else. I like to get the results. If I get the results, then I'm done with it. If I'm really interested, I'll go watch the highlights.
That's it, man.
But it's not. It's not must-see TV.
I want to throw in the asshole factor. Here's what they should do. You want to make it great? Only have the Olympics in the United States, Canada, and maybe Mexico.
I didn't want to go full heel like that, Terry.
That's what they should do. It doesn't matter what ratings you get in Romania. It doesn't matter what ratings you get in Italy or China. It only matters here. So have it in the United States. Primetime stuff when we can watch and we're spending our money on advertisement. That's all that matters. But look, there's beer commercials, there's Cheetos, there's nacho commercials. Who's that directed at? Us. We got the money, we got the clout, only have it in the United States. Maybe Canada, sometimes Mexico, and maybe Brazil.
Because they're not letting you eat those chemicals over in Europe.
But here's the thing, Neil, you brought it up. Right? Where is the viewership's down and stuff like this? But until they're losing the money, like, are they making money because they're advertising elsewhere and stuff like this? Is that if this is how it looks, where it's losing money left and right, then that's absolutely, if this is a money grab thing and stuff like that, then they absolutely should do that.
But let me educate you. The International Olympic Committee is the most corrupt organization in the world.
FIFA would like to have a word with you.
Or the NCAA. They're worse
Yeah.
than FIFA. They're worse than FIFA. They're making their money. But how about this?
Well, hey, we never even got into it, but yeah, how about the fact that going on the Olympics is the Russian 15-year-old tests for PEDs, tests positive, and then cries, and then she gets in, and yet in the Summer Olympics, the American who tested positive for a non-performance enhancing drug and cannabis. There's not even, it's almost like she's sent to the gallows. It's just a hypocrisy, but it's not only in sports, in the world.
It's corrupt.
So I mean,
brother, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's
they're
just
making their money.
Maybe I'm being overly simple.
Because that's why it's allowed.
And I it's funny, Terry, because I pause when I give that opinion because I know how it's going to be interpreted, and like D-Mac said earlier, people hear what they want to hear, not what was said. And I give pause because that's going to come off as political, I think. Some people spin it into that. And we'll probably clip that.
Spin
we'll put
what?
The whole statement about you can't have it in China, you can't have it in Japan.
Don't have it in countries we don't like. How about that?
Even Australia. We like Australia.
We love Australia.
But you can't have it there either.
No, you can't.
Because we're not going to watch. We're not. That's just, it's proven. We'll give you Europe, as D-Mac said. You can go as far out as France or Italy. Because then you have a round at 9 a.m. It'll be like the soccer calendar, like 9 a.m., 3 p.m. that'll stretch out. And then you have the games at night over there that maybe run, you'll have your 11 o'clock drop of the puck for preliminary hockey that'll be on at 6 here in America. That's the way you can do it. The only way you can do it.
How about let's wake up International Olympic Committee? The Olympics is not for the world. Yes, the world competes in it, and God bless them, and I wish you all the best. But the Olympics is set up for the United States. And maybe Canada a little bit. But the bottom line is their success is made on how much money Ford Motor Company is willing to spend, or
Pepsi,
Procter and Gamble, or Pepsi, or something like that. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I'll call it what it is when you get a haircut, D-Mac.
Well, you know what? We know that the Olympic Committee has a lot to be desired, but what doesn't have a lot to be desired is right here. Yes, Lady Jane's haircuts for men. I know football season's over, but the sports are still flowing. Come into Lady Jane, just sign in, you sit down, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean, all with a TV right in the mirror so you can see how well your hair's doing as well as what your bet is doing, because you've already, before you sat down, put your MyBookie bet in. Anyways, Lady Jane's daily 10 to 8, 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Why? Because it's just flat. Wicked awesome. Big D Energy. We'll be right back with T-Foss. Storytime. Can't wait. Here.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Go! Detroit Sports on Demand.
DeAndre Swift, he's going to take it all the way for the touchdown. Open in the corner, he triple.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app today. Take us with you everywhere you go. Search Woodward Sports Network or WSN Live.
Back at it here, final segment of the show. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, Terry Foster, D-Mac, Sam Flannel, and Sawyer. A couple of house cleaning things before we get to T-Foss and Storytime. It's a good one, folks. It is a good one. I haven't heard the story yet, but I know I can feel it in my heart that it's a good one. Pistons put out a press release. They will celebrate boxing legend and Detroit icon Joe Louis with a new merchandise line in collaboration with Mitchell and Ness. You can go to Pistons313shop.com and check that out. Pretty fire-looking stuff on there as well. So that's pretty cool to see. Daniela Bruce, friend of the show, is reporting Jeff Blashill said Dylan Larkin's being evaluated after leaving the ice during today's practice. Did not have an update for us as of yet. So you don't like to see that. Yeah, don't want to see that. But we'll, certainly as we get news, we'll relay that to you.
Smells like lower body.
LBI? LBI. All right, it's time to close out the poll here. Choose your own adventure with Terry Foster. You know how we do it. We like to do the story time with T-Foss. The choices today, Terry, the time you were getting on a flight from San Francisco to Detroit and had a woman pose as your wife, or another time, New Year's Eve in Grand Rapids, where you woke up and thought the heater was blowing on you when, in fact, it was a woman with bad breath.
Oh my
83% of the vote want to hear about the story as a woman posing as your wife, as I do too, here on National Margarita Day.
By the Delta terminal at San Francisco International Airport, there's a little restaurant there. And I got there, I think I was covering the Lions San Francisco 49ers game back in the day. So there's a cutie pie I sat near, and so we were having margaritas. And, you know, I kind of got a little slushy, and she'd been there for like 5 or 6 hours. What happened is the cutie pie missed her early flight and couldn't get on any other flights. So our flight was the last one to Detroit. So she's like, "If I'll do anything if you can get me on this flight." I said, "Wait, you can't get on it?" She says, "No. They keep saying everything is sold out and I won't be able to get back home for 2 days." I said, "That's baloney. I'll get you on." So anyway, one of my boys was there and says, "The gate attendant who's gay has a crush on you. He'll do anything you ask." I'm like, "All right, I'm going to get my girl on the flight." So I go up there and I say, "What's up, buddy boy?" I said, "Can you do me a favor?" He says, "Yes, anything." I said, "This is my wife. Can you get her on the flight?" And she'd already approached him, and he said, "No, we can't get you on there." But he started clicking buttons. Click, 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 click. So anyway, he spits out a ticket and gives it to her, so she gets on the flight. They moved my seat so I could sit next to her because this is my wife. So we get on. The flight attendant comes on the plane, and this is his mistake. He gave us a blanket. And so he put the blanket over our laps.
Whoa, whoa.
So she gets on the flight. And then they bring us, not a margarita, but they brought us some wine. Because it's me and my wife.
You're beyond the margaritas by then. You
so
can't
anyway,
even taste the tequila.
I don't know. I think we were probably over Colorado. Homegirl starts messing with me under the blanket. And I was like, oh. So I'm trying to look like this, like everything is normal. I think over Iowa I had a happy ending.
And this how to join the not quite Mile High Club.
This was my wife, not the real wife, but that's how she got on.
Goat story.
That was good.
Is that the best?
Yeah,
that's a good
YouTube
one.
chat poll right now. Was that just Terry Foster's best story? We got about 3 minutes for you to get your votes in.
I felt so fortunate.
Yeah. Back in the day.
I'm curious. I want to know this. A quick flash poll. This has to be the best one. Is that the best one?
That was the only flight that was at 45,000 feet for me. Then I was like, damn.
Hey, and you know what's so apropos? He tied it into margaritas.
Right,
Happy Margarita Day out there. Hopefully, maybe your day can end as Mile High as T-Foss's back in the day.
But the unfortunate thing is the flight from San Francisco to Detroit is so long. That was the quickest flight ever.
I bet.
Now, what happened was she coming to Detroit? Missed her flight to Detroit?
She lived. I think she lived in Macomb County.
Oh,
somewhere.
she's from around here. So
she's from
nice.
Detroit, and she
so you were
wanted to
doing
go home.
That's nice.
Services
rendered.
Mickey Lum Phelps says, yes, this is outstanding. GW the Kid, this is epic. Steve Brown, is this the best story? And the YouTube chat poll, was this the best story ever? 93% say yes.
Oh, yeah.
By the way.
All right, cool.
Machiavelli sucks to go. Whatever happened to that young lady?
She just disappeared. We go to baggage claim, and she's gone. That was it. Never heard from her again. But you know what? At that point, I didn't care. She got on the flight, and I had a happy landing.
Dennis says, this story is awesome. This is a gold story.
That is one to knock off the bucket list.
See, stuff like that happens to pro athletes, not us regular guys. You know?
No, there's T-Foss always trying to circle back playing the regular guy card.
I can't.
Yeah. Nobody. I'm a regular guy. Nobody else has stories like this, Terry. You have a
nobody
treasure
else
chest
is going
of
to
them.
tell stories like this.
Yeah.
Unless you read the book.
How about that? I'm a regular guy who's had irregular things happen to him.
Oh,
You're not a
regular guy.
I am.
You are not a regular guy, Terry Foster.
Dude.
It's like I'm a regular guy.
You're not a regular
guy. You got
guy.
Stanley Cup rings. I have none.
You don't need that. Yeah, but you don't get service on the plane. The rings don't get you service on the plane, bro. That's all you.
Only the game.
That's all. Hey, the things. Happy to learn. Yeah, there's. I think Terry said that. Yeah, that's things that don't happen to most.
There you go. I think that's the best way to put it. Tammy Chin. Oh, Terry, you are not a regular guy. You are not. We had something else we were going to get to. We'll do it tomorrow. Like, there's nowhere to go from that. All we can do is just sit here and wait for it to be the end of the show right now. That's all we can do. We got about 45 seconds. Where do you go from that?
I'm still a regular guy. I don't know how stuff like this happens.
Somebody wants to know where you autographed the blanket. And he said he already did.
DMAP Zoom says, I needed that laugh. So there you go. You were the light.
Beautiful.
You were the light in somebody's day. T-Foss, love it, man.
Had a blast.
Hopefully, your day on Margarita Tuesday, 2/22/2022.
You know what?
Can end
Some other person is going to be a regular guy, and something like this is going to happen to them today because it's Margarita Day on 2/22/22.
There you have it.
He just won't be as high as you.
Happy National Margarita Day, everyone. So for T-Foss, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, and Sawyer, my name's Neil Rule. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.